Hey, what's going on YouTube? Mr. Football here, and today I have a video on Schutt Rib Protectors. So we're going to focus just on Schutt Rib Protectors. We could talk about other different brands. I want to give a quick shout out to Elite Sports 15. He comments all the time that he wants me to review the Zenith Core Rib Protector. I'm trying. I've never seen that product. I've seen Zenith's back plates. I'll look into them, I promise. It's just, focus on this right now until we get there. Anyway, moving on to the video. I wanted to answer some very common questions I get when people ask me about rib protectors. And these are some that I've gotten before. Some of them I kind of elaborate on. But some of these questions I get, we're going to kind of go through them real quick. But what position are rib protectors for? Another one I kind of get is what benefit do they serve? We're going to go through questions about that. Another question people sometimes ask is, can I wear something? Well, I've got a very short answer for that later on, but my fourth one is, and then kind of going off of the second one, is, what are some of the advantages and disadvantages of wearing a rib protector, rib guard? We'll look into that. And the final one is choosing the right size. There will probably be a later video that kind of explains more about installing these on your shoulder pads. Now, the bulk of what I have here are all Schutt Youth rib protectors, except for one size, and that's down here on the floor, and I'll kind of talk about it later when we get into the sizing. But so my first question that I kind of posed was, what position are they good for? And when you think about rib protectors, the most common position that wears a rib protector that would be attached to the shoulder pads would be a quarterback. Now, the reason a quarterback would want to wear a set of pads with a rib protector attached to them is in the off chance that quarterback drops back for a pass, they get blindsided from their backside and they take a shot to the back and ribs. And that is one of the more common injuries you see with quarterbacks. You see a lot of rib injuries with quarterbacks. There's even been cases where quarterbacks have punctured a lung because of this. And mostly I'm thinking about the NFL when I think of certain players that have had that injury. But I would say any position that is going to take a physical toll towards that area of the body when we're talking about the ribs, because if we think about what the shoulder pads do, they should already go to your sternum and maybe a little below, and they should at least go halfway down your back. Now, the rib protector at least gives you protection around your belly and the ribs that aren't covered by the shoulder pads. So that is where that kind of comes in. I would say other positions, running backs, like I said, quarterbacks, receivers, defensive players. I really thought about this one, but a lot, and this will kind of get into a mobility thing later, but I thought linebackers might be the only candidate for a rib protector just in that sense. Now, the next question I always seem to get is, what benefit does a product like this serve? Like I said before, if you've had any type, if there's a risk of a rib injury, if you're a quarterback, I would advise wearing one. There are all kinds of different options, and we can definitely have a video on just all the different options there are. But just for this video's sake, if you've ever suffered a rib injury, this could be a great thing to have. Now, commonly what these are is they have just like the shoulder pads, they kind of have a mesh outing with padding on the inside, and then have a hard shell that surrounds it. So if you can imagine this just going around a player's waist, and this Velcro piece here kind of puts it all together and makes it a very protective pad. Any kind of hits, this also is very beneficial. Any type of hits you may receive to the ribs or back. Now, we also get into talking about back plates, which only serve protecting the lower back from the shoulder pads down, which all of these kind of resemble a back plate in a sort of a way, except for, like as you see there, they continue around to protect the ribs. So, moving on to some of my advantages and disadvantages towards kind of leading into this, but one advantage I see is just, for the position wise, is the protection you receive from this. Now, for your ribs and back, you're getting a very good protective piece of equipment here. And there's a lot of other options. If you see something you like, you might want to stick with. I mean, every shoulder pad brand has their own type that go with these. So, and we can also get into, it really doesn't matter what rib protector you get. Schutt is one of the more common ones that's more on the affordable side. Some common disadvantages that I see with this type of padding and equipment wear is it can kind of limit your mobility. And it can and I mean, we think of football movements. This is really more of a protective piece. It's going to weigh you down a little bit more, because this is just adding towards your shoulder pads. And I would say that these are already a pretty light pair of youth shoulder pads, but when you add this on, it adds more weight to it. So there is going to be more weight. So if you're more of a mobile quarterback, if you think you got enough speed to get away, it's one of those things, like if you're a pocket passer, it might be essential to have these. If you don't think you're going to tuck and run and you want to protect from a hit, you might want to wear this. But it's a double-edged sword on nearly every one of these kind of things. It's either you're going to be very protected, but you're also going to be less mobile. So that's what I see. Some people may think it's different, but I see the mobility factor in certain positions may not want to wear this, such if you're an offensive lineman and you've got to be down in a stance, that can kind of hinder how your stance is because of this padding. When you bend at the waist, that's going to have a little bit of a hindering on you getting in your stance correctly. One of the more common questions I get with any type of equipment like this is, can I wear it? And my simple question is, yes, you can wear it. I don't like answering comments that say, I'm this age, I play this position, here's my height and weight, blah, blah, blah. Like, just go out and try it. Like, it can't hurt to try something for one of these things. And if you stick with the Schutt brand, they're pretty affordable. And you can find them at most sporting goods stores without having to pay over $40 for one of these things. And commonly I've found these in thrift stores. Just like these two right here were both found in thrift stores. I'm pretty sure this one was $1 and this one was, I can't remember. It wasn't more than $5, I'd say. But that's just one of the common things you can, find with these. My last question with this is choosing the right size, and this is kind of be the bulk of my video, talking about what you need. So if you've selected, and what we're looking at here is just youth shoulder pads in general, but I'm going to show you one that I got and picked up. But these all have at least 3 sizes when you look across the board in Schutt's line, and every shoulder pad company that I've looked through has kind of the same setup. Riddell does this, and I know Douglas has a similar way they do it. But this is a small rib protector, and I'll take it out of the packaging here and sort of give you all a little unboxing. But choosing the right size, and if your thing doesn't have I've noticed that all of these, by where they're made, the little tag that says made in Vietnam, and it's got a little S there for small. Well, I looked on one of my other ones and I started looking around on it, and so on this one, you probably won't be able to see this on the camera, but one of these said large. This one actually has it wrote on this is an older Schutt model. They don't make this one anymore of this style, but this is one of my more favorite ones. And it's a youth small, as you can see there. So these are going to be smaller when you compare them, and as far as like how big they are, if you can kind of see there, and then compare it to this large, just like this. Now, in every situation, you may not be able to find the right size for your shoulder pads. So I've kind of come up with and I'm just reading this out of a Schutt catalog, but on the youth ones, if you have shoulder pads from 3X extra small, and that's actually a size, 3X extra small, to a medium, you can get the small version. Now, if you go anywhere, if you have shoulder pad size large to 3XL in youth, you can have a large. Now, talking about the adult version, I'm going to pull this out of here. Now, this is an adult medium. Now, adult medium says it goes from basically a medium to a large, and they actually make a large in this, so it would be able to go From the large goes basically from size large to extra large all the way to the biggest shoulder pads they make. So it's not really a big deal if you have, like, say for instance, I don't have in this Y-Flex 2.0 series, this is a size medium and this is actually a large rib protector on it. It's not going to matter if it's a size off. Like, I would be more concerned if this was a 2X size pair of shoulder pads and this was like a medium or a small or even a large. Like, I would be more concerned that way if something was too big or too small. So I hope that this video made a lot of sense. I hope it kind of helped you guys out, kind of understand different rib protectors. I kind of went over, I didn't really go into any prices too much on any of this, but I wanted to kind of steer away from this and just give you a more informative video on the different Schutt style rib protectors. And I will say, these really have not changed. Some of these date back 3 or 4 years, and they come out with a new version of it every year, but it's still the same style with its little belt loops here. Or I guess these are, it's almost like a harness, I guess you'd say, and you can either attach to the shoulder pads or you can just wear it over sort of like a vest. So that's my video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you here next time.